Welcome ladies and gentlemen, how you guys doing? Welcome back to the channel. We for the most part went over the entirety of the main rap battle between the two legends, Drake and Kendrick Lamar, and talked about who won out of the two, with my overall conclusion being that Drake completely lost. And if you think otherwise, you're delusional, or you're DJ Academics. But hey, what's the difference? If you guys want to know my more in-depth take, obviously go watch part 1, the Why Drake Lost video. But that's not the only interesting aspect to the battle. There's a load of different accusations spread throughout the multitude of different songs that get pretty bad, from domestic to cheating to hiding a daughter to even straight up just being a freaky ass nigga in a 69 god. There's so many different accusations that were thrown out between the two, and I barely glossed over them in the last video, but today we're gonna go full deep into these accusations and see which ones hold weight and which ones don't. Now, as I said before, I think these heavy accusations is one of the main reasons why the beef went completely mainstream, unlike other battles before. So just because I can, and I have no care for my mental health whatsoever, I wanted to go through and compile basically everything that was said and see if the claims have merit to them or not. And this time, guys, I will try not to sound compromised or anything, but there are things that I want to say for sure. And to kind of spoil the ending here, let's just say one party's accusations are a lot more legible than the other party's accusations. I think you can probably guess who, but just in case you can't, go ahead and follow the video, right? So let's go ahead and get right into it. Also, trigger warning, there's going to be a lot of mentions of grooming activity here, and if that is something that's sensitive to you, you guys can skip to the next chapter. Time to start with the most potent and the most serious allegation, which is Drake the PDF. At multiple points, Not Like Us and in Meet the Grams, Kendrick has accused Drake of being weird around underage girls. He's saying for people to keep their children away from them. It's a big accusation. It's heavily implied. And there's another thing that he mentions in Not Like Us that I think a lot of people actually forget about, and we're gonna once again get into it. I'm not really much in the rap scene, but one thing I do know, I have a friend, right? And we kind of talked about Drake a little bit, and it's been hinted at heavily in a lot of different areas where Drake has this weird thing with underage girls.
You see, when I text underage girls, it's all weird and wrong. But when you do it, Drake, it's okay. Because it's the girl with that number name from that one show.
Keep in mind, this is pretty much a year ago. This is all the way back in May when Meek Kenyon made this video. So he called him out. He technically did call him out like a while ago, if we're being honest. So yeah, Drake being a weirdo has kind of been something that's been talked about, but it hasn't been something that everybody's talking about, if that makes any sense. I remember before my friend actually talked to me about he didn't really mess with Drake and he thought he was a weirdo because he was actually talking to Billie Eilish when she was 17 years old. You guys know that video where she was talking about Drake being a nice guy in her DMs and she was talking about the most popular people in there? Keep in mind she was 17 at the time.
17-year-old Billie Eilish sat down for an interview with Vanity Fair and revealed that one of the most famous people in her phone is Drake. She would go on to say that Drake is like the nicest dude I've ever spoken to. I mean, I've only texted him, but he's so nice. He does not need to be nice. You know what I mean?
Now, is it weird that he's talking to her in the DMs? Yes. But this was kind of one of the weaker accusations there, where people said it was weird for him to be talking to Billie Eilish. I do agree with that. If I had a 30-year-old friend and they were talking to a 17-year-old, it's just kind of weird to do, unless it's once again like business relations, which it might be. This is like a wholly speculative, like what are they talking about kind of thing, and the fact that we don't really know anything about what they really talked about. After all, she was up and coming, and maybe Drake just wanted to try and get a connection for a collab in the future. Or he just recognized her talent and wanted to congratulate her on stuff. Completely wholesome conversation. Maybe that's what happened. So I'm not gonna press this part further, but it is weird, right? It is strange that he's doing that. Also, to the Billie Eilish thing, there was also this screenshot, which is basically her saying, "I'm 18 tomorrow," and then this nigga said, "I've been waiting." You could say it's a joke. That's just really weird to say to an actual 18-year-old. Maybe if she wasn't 18 and he was just like making a joke or whatever, that's one thing, but like to say that is insane, bro. There are a couple things I'm going to mention, and there's videos, of course, that I'm going to talk about, and I'm going to talk about stuff regarding some other weird behaviors that I'm noticing from Drake that kind of resembles that of what a groomer would do. Now, I want to make this very, very clear. I am not saying exactly that he is a groomer. I'm just saying his actions are seemingly in line with what one would do to get with girls around the same age. I'm not saying anything crazy. I'm just saying weird behavioral patterns that we'll see throughout Drake's entire career of his adult life, essentially. We're gonna first start off with the most obvious ones. So we're gonna start with this 17-year-old girl stage that was going around the time of Not Like Us coming about, and him basically going on stage talking to a 17-year-old fan. And to say it's weird is kind of an understatement.
How old are you? I can't go to jail yet, man. 17? Why do you look like that? You thick. Look at all this. I don't know if I should feel guilty or not, but I had fun. I like the way your breasts feel against my chest and stuff. I just want to thank you.
5 times. I don't think I need to say this, but I guess I do, because there's a lot of people defending this clip. That's weird, okay? That's weird, that's strange. That is very, very weird to do. I saw some people defend this clip a lot, saying that this is just how it was back in 2010. Apparently, we just all used to do this. The 17-year-olds come out, we just all start kissing them on the lips and stuff, apparently. And honestly, I'm not gonna hold you. I don't really believe that, but honestly, if there's anyone in the comment section that can validate this claim of this is just how 2010 was, please comment in the comment section, because I don't know. Maybe it was more acceptable back then than it is now, but that does not take away from the fact that this is still a weird behavior. And once again, a lot of people will be like, oh, but it seemed like everyone was completely fine with it. I will get to that in a second. If it was so commonplace back then in 2010 to mac on 17-year-olds and say their breasts feel good against their chest, I would love to see some example where everybody did that. Like any rapper, anytime that someone was on stage or in a concert, people did exactly what Drake was doing. If there's anybody that can point me to some kind of information or something, please go for it, please. Until then, I don't believe that, and I think this is weird. Also, I find it funny how people said this was just commonplace in the times, but he literally says on stage, I get in trouble doing shit like this. By the way, this was in 2010 once again, so considering that he's, I believe, 37 now, this would be back when he was 23 years old, since this was about 14 years ago. So he was 23 doing this to a 17-year-old. I've seen some people say they don't care about it. I've seen people be like, that's not really that bad. It's a red flag, but it's not anything to be concerned about. I just have to flat out disagree with you there. Now, I know some people are going to comment in the comment section and be like, oh, but she responded and said it was fine, man. So there's nothing wrong with it. You're just speculating on the thing, and you're trying to tell her how she's supposed to feel about it. Okay. All right. Okay, let's read what she says. Okay, let's read what she says. I have it right here. Don't worry, I got you. I did not miss it. We'll go through it. Woman who Drake kissed on stage when she was 17 speaks out. It was nothing then and still nothing now. The alleged woman in the video, Tia Jayed, came forward on Instagram to address the 14-year-old clip. She says, this was purely for his stage act. I was 17 years old and I'm 31 now. It was nothing then and it's nothing now. In a longer statement, Jayed gives some backstory on the night. Regarding the video that's going around, I was 17 back then and I'm 31 now. This was a concert that my dad took me to back in high school. Drake's entourage actually picked me out from the crowd of people, not Drake himself. Now that I've cleared up these false narratives, I'm going back to my study for my law school exams. Wish me luck. That is essentially what she said. That's the whole statement. Now, first off, I don't care if Drake was the one that brought her up or his entourage was the one that brought her up, if I'm being frank here. That just means his entourage are weirdos too, which further supports Kendrick's claim of Drake hanging around complete weirdos, but we'll get to that later. You could say his entourage didn't know she was 17, which once again, I guess, but the fact that they didn't call it off after she said her age and whatnot, weird. But okay, cool. As I've said before, this doesn't really take away from the fact that he still did what he did after she said she was 17 years old. I don't understand why that really matters, who brought her up. I don't give a who brought her up. I don't think anyone was arguing that he brought her up. Maybe some people were saying that, but that's a nothing claim. Who cares? Now, the second thing I'm going to say, and I know this is going to sound harsh, I'm going to be honest, I could not care less how she feels about this whole thing. I don't care. And there's two reasons why this is the case, and this is also the reason why I think think a lot of people are bringing up excuses for that. This was just how the 2010s were, dude. This is just how the 2010s were, bro. We were backing on 17-year-olds all the time, bro. The first reason why, I'm gonna make an analogy to kind of make this more clear. Keep with me for a second. But let's say we're walking by each other, you and me, and we both see a tree. A regular, typical tree that you could see anywhere in the world. I say that it's a tree, but for some reason, you argue to me that it's actually a bush. It's not a tree. You go through all the lengths trying to convince me that it's a bush, and even call a tree expert that's giving me reasons why this is a bush and not a tree. It's still a tree. No matter how many experts you want to give, no matter how many different times you want to say it's not a tree, it's a bush, it's still a tree. Now, what does this have to do with this clip, and why did I say the analogy? Well, this is why. It doesn't matter what kind of hula hoops you want to jump through and all the excuses you have for the situation not being weird. It's a weird situation. Just because she says that she's completely fine with it happening, that doesn't make the situation not weird anymore. It's still a weird situation. She's just okay with the weird situation, which once again, we will get into, and this actually ties into my second reason. I guarantee you, if this was some regular, degular citizen 23-year-old who comes up and kisses a 17-year-old exactly how Drake did, that was doing the exact same actions, or if it was some YouTuber who was doing the exact same thing, you guys would all be screaming the PDF word from the cliffs of Olympus. You guys would be having a megaphone and everything screaming, oh, he's this. The reason she and all you people are trying to defend this, which once again, this is my second point, is because it's Drake and he's famous. That is the only reason why you guys are defending this. If this was some Minecraft YouTuber or something, we would have twit-longers galore saying how disgusting this is and how they should all lose their platforms. You guys would not be okay with this whatsoever. There would be no argument at all against this. But because it's Drake, it's alright that he kissed the underage girl 4 times with one being on the lips. It's all okay because it's Drake and he may take care. It's the same reason that Kanye gets away with a lot of this that he said. Except on top of him making graduation, add that to he also has mental issues. And Drake doesn't have mental issues, from what I understand. There's no real excuse you could give for Drake except the fact that he's Drake and he's famous. But at the end of the day, this situation, this interaction is objectively weird. This is a 23-year-old grown man kissing a 17-year-old, and it's weird. Regardless if you want to cope, it's a weird situation that happened, okay? Maybe if this was an isolated issue, you could chalk this up as being it's a little oopsie daisy. It's a oopsie daisy, you know, we all do it. Okay, cool. And I'm not even saying that this is evidence of him being like a predator or anything, which I would say is true. If by itself this was the only clip people had of Drake, I don't think anyone could sit there and say that this isolated incident is something that should define his whole character. Especially since this happened such a long time ago, right? He's a changed man, guys. He's changed from 23 years old. The unfortunate reality is that this is very mild compared to the other public things that have been slowly leaked to the public. Now, I'm going to be using this thread here that I actually kind of archived using this thread reader thing. Now, there's a couple things that I really don't care too much about. This is Drake's history of predatory and inappropriate behavior with young women, a thread. There's a couple people in here that I don't really care about. I remember this one at the very end. Oh yeah, Suede Brooks, like Drake 35 and the model Suede Brooks were seen on a yacht in France in 2022. I don't care about that. Suede Brooks, a grown woman, she can date whoever she wants. I'm not going to sit there and police who he can and can't be with, basically. Now let's talk about Millie Bobby Brown, who's pretty much like the most infinite of Drake's list of girls that he's inappropriately talked to. Now, the Millie Bobby Brown stuff I also found interesting, mostly because this could give more insight into what he could potentially be talking to these underage girls about.
Your relationship with Drake. Tell me about your friendship. How did this all come about?
I love him. I met him in Australia, and he's honestly so fantastic and a great friend and a great role model. You know, we just texted each other the other day, and he was like, I miss you so much. I was like, I miss you more. He's coming to Atlanta, so I'm definitely gonna go and see him. I'm so excited, yeah.
You and Drake? That's awesome. That's awesome.
What advice does he give you? Like, what does he say?
About boys. He helps me.
What?
Yeah. He's great. He's wonderful. I love him.
What's his advice with boys?
You know, that stays in the text messages.
It stays in the text messages. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Now, keep in mind here, Millie Bobby Brown, she's 14 years old. This is inappropriate conversation. A lot of people defended the Billie Eilish thing by saying that these could be professional relationships that he's trying to gain connections with. And honestly, it's understandable when you think about it that way. It's just him trying to get these new people, these new celebrities in the scene and have celebrity talk, basically. Here's the thing, unless you were trying to convince me that Drake is talking talking to The Weeknd and all of his other connections about what girls they're gonna be with the other day. He's talking about girls. Unless you're trying to convince me that that's the case, that's a weird relationship, and it goes beyond just the celebrity connection. Now you could say, oh, but Drake, he just loves Stranger Things. He just wanted to talk to the 14-year-old. Okay, why specifically the 14-year-old? What about her was so fascinating that he needed to talk to her about how he misses her and how they need to talk about boys? Where are the other celebrities of Stranger Things saying that they got contacts from Drake? I haven't heard anything. Now, I understand this doesn't automatically mean that he's trying to be friends with her so that he could have some kind of sexual interactions when she turns 18 years old. Maybe he's just trying to be the kind, nice to her, just like how he was to the other underage girl that I mentioned, and the other underage girl that I mentioned, and the future underage girl that I'm going to mention.
He's so nice. Like, he does not need to be nice. You know what I mean? He's at a level in his life where he doesn't need to be nice, but he is, you know?
Maybe it's just that. Maybe he's just trying to be nice. He's trying to be a nice guy, bro. Trying to be nice to all these underage girls. But if I'm going to be completely honest with you guys, I just don't think this is appropriate. I don't think it's appropriate to talk to a 14-year-old girl when you're 30 years old and you guys have no relations. Maybe if it was family, I would maybe understand, but they're not family. Drake has no relations with Millie Bobby Brown. There's no reason he should be talking to this random 14-year-old girl about boys. That's weird. If someone saw that in high school, if a teacher saw that, if a parent saw that, they would think the person behind it is a creep and a weirdo. But because it's Drake, it's completely fine, right? Because it's good old Drake, good old Aubrey Graham himself, it's completely fine that he's talking to a 14-year-old when he's in his 30s, by the way. Another thing that I actually forgot to mention about the Millie Bobby Brown stuff is that she actually went to his yacht. So first we're talking about boys and missing you as a 14-year-old when you're a 29-year-old man. And then when she's 13 years old, as a 31-year-old man, you invite her to your yacht. Yeah, dude, he's not doing anything weird. What's weird about inviting a 13-year-old to his yacht? Drake and the 13-year-old Millie Bobby Brown first met at his concert in Brisbane, Australia. They both shared photos together of their meeting on social media in November 2017. By the way, once again, there's proof here and pictures and stuff, but I'll probably show the pictures like alongside, 'cause I'm sure I can find them.
Drake, he wants to see me, and I was like, okay, we're going. So I got my outfit prepared, I went there, and he was such a fanboy, and I was such a fangirl that and honestly we text all the time now. He helps me with everything, just life lessons. He's amazing, he's a great human being, and we went to dinner afterwards, and we had dinner the next day, and then we met in Sydney.
2 months later, during a Golden Globes after party, Drake and Millie posed for photos. Millie captioned a post with Drake, "Blessed to have my security be at my +1 at the Netflix party." So their relationship was so solid that she was his +1. Not any other celebrity her age, but Drake was her +1. According to reports, Drake, 31, and Millie, 13, spent the entire night together at the party. At the SAG Awards the same month, Millie was asked about her new friendship with Drake. In the interview, she says, "Drake is my man," and shares how exciting it was to meet him. Drake also wished her a happy 14th birthday. This also wasn't too long ago as well. Millie Bobby Brown currently is 20 years old. This happened 6 years ago? That is not long whatsoever. Drake at this point was in his 30s, so this is a relationship between a 31-year-old man and a 14-year-old girl. That is weird. That is conversations that you should not be having whatsoever. And even if you want to say it's completely fine, it's fine, it doesn't matter. Drake he's just a nice guy. Why is he being that nice guy to a 14-year-old, man? How is that not alarming in any way, shape, or form to you? You have to be stupid to think that. You know what I mean? I don't know. That's just me personally. I understand people give him the benefit of the doubt because, once again, this isn't concrete smoking gun proof that he's out here being a groomer. However, this is groomer type behavior, talking to 14-year-old girls. And now a lot of people talk about the Millie Bobby Brown thing, but I actually think the next relationship that I'm going to talk about is probably the most groomer-like relationship that Drake has had, and that is with Hailey Baldwin. Rumors of Drake, 29, and Hailey Baldwin, 19, dating began circulating after they were seen being very affectionate at his Memorial Day party in May 2016. She went to the party with Madison Beer, 17, another underage girl he's hanging out with, who shared this video.
This is a video of Drake, a 29-year-old man, hanging out with Hailey Baldwin when she was 19 and her 17-year-old friend. So they are at a club together. Hailey has her arm around him. A nearly 30-year-old man hanging out with a 19 and a 17-year-old. all right? They were spotted having dinner together at a restaurant the next day. They reportedly went home together at 2:30 a.m. and Drake was wearing Hailey's H necklace on his way out. This is Drake and Hailey at the restaurant. This is Hailey with her necklace on, and this is Drake with that same necklace.
Now, on the surface, this doesn't seem like anything, right? She's 19 years old, he's 29. Yeah, is that a little inappropriate? Yeah. But it's not like she was underage, right? And you're right, she wasn't underage when they started allegedly dating. Honestly, your perception of this is going to kind of matter here, whether you consider what was shown here to be an obvious romantic interaction they had. I think personally that wearing each other's chains, he's wearing her chain and she's wearing his chain, I think is very suspicious. I think on top of that, the fact that they're going to dinner together, just the two of them, it's an intimate experience that people who go on dates will do. That is like one of the stereotypical main things you do on a date is go to dinner. So if you don't see this being a date or anything, maybe that's just you. Maybe you just go on intimate dinners with all your friends. Maybe you don't think that way, but I'm pretty sure if you take a girl out to go eat at an expensive restaurant, just the two of you, pretty intimate, come outside wearing each other's chains, I think about 80% of the population will say that that is a date. However, maybe it wasn't. Maybe he just likes taking all his homies out for dinner. Maybe that's just what he does. Maybe we'll see one of the weekend where they also wear each other's chains. Or maybe not. And maybe he just does this with the underage girls. But who knows? Who knows? Now, I made a slight wrong there. I apologize. I said that she wasn't of age. Honestly, the issue is not that. The issue is the fact that they've been friends with each other for a pretty long time before this interaction happened.
Hailey revealed that she had been good friends with Drake since she was 15. They spent a lot of time together, reportedly, and he invited her to his 28th birthday when she was 17. This is Drake with the then 17-year-old Hailey Baldwin.
You see, he's got his arm around her and stuff as well. Here's one of the messages. So it says, what's going on between Hailey Baldwin and Drake? Well, according to the 19-year-old model, Drake is a great friend, but nothing more. Baldwin opened up about their friendship on the red carpet at the iHeartRadio Much Music Video Award on Sunday, telling E! News that the two of them had been friends for about 4 years.
When I was 16, I said that I was going out with my sister and we were just going out to dinner and we went to the Drake concert instead. They never found out for years, and then my sister and I ended up telling them when we were older.
He also attended Kendall Jenner's birthday party and captioned an Instagram photo with Ruby Rose, Phoebe Doll, and 18-year-old Hailey saying, you know, if I could somehow buy a house in, say, I don't know, Jamaica, and then we all ... This is him with Hailey when she was 18, hugged up with the 18-year-old and saying he wants to buy a house and have them all there together. And he's been knowing her since she was 15.
Once again, he knew Bella Harris since she was at the very least 16. Some could speculate that it might be earlier, but the earliest interaction is when they were 16 years old. Then at 18 years old, doing all these things like having private dinners with her. It's just weird, man.
Next, 18-year-old Bella Harris shares a photo with 31-year-old Drake when she was backstage at his concert. In the caption, she put, "No place I'd rather be." And this is her and Drake hugged up. Drake reportedly shut down a restaurant for a private dinner with her. He met her in 2016 when she was 16 years old. This is her in May of 2016. The caption says, "Too good," with a heart. This is a 16-year-old girl posed with this grown-ass man, and he starts to get a bit more touchy and take public pictures with her when she gets a little older. It's 2 years later. She also wished Drake a happy 30th birthday, and he commented on the post when she was 16. This is her in 2016 saying, "Happy birthday, old man. At Champagne Poppy. Cheers to more life." She has on the OVO merch. There's Champagne Poppy in the comments. The heart eye emoji, leaving this comment under a 16-year-old's picture.
Once again, you're Drake. You have access to literally everybody, and you're choosing the 16-year-old, you're choosing the 14-year-old here, the 17-year-old there. You're just choosing kids, bro, and you're choosing to hang out with them. And one of the last girls I'll mention is Sydney Christine.
Next, we have an artist named Sydney Christine, and she reveals some very interesting information. At the time of this interview, she's 22 years old.
First person, and really the only artist I reached out to was Drake. I never met him, never spoke to him. I don't know why he'd been following me for the past 6 years. I don't know why, but I'm sure we all know why. Yeah, I've never spoken to him, so let me just.
You know, it's really telling how someone in the crowd literally said, "We all know why. Come on, it's Drake. Come on now. Come on, brother." Come on, brother. We all know why. Come on. It's also funny how it's the same kind of age group, the 14 to 16 range, where he's talking to these girls. It's, once again, very interesting.
Child, like, send him some beats. And then he was for it. He was like, all right, dope, send me some. Nothing happened.
He had been following her for 6 years, since she was 16 years old.
The Drake thing. You met him, well, when did you first meet him?
So I played basketball, right? So he really was a fan of supported one of my teammates at the time. And
this is when you were in high school?
Yeah, in high school. So he was a fan of women's basketball, high school basketball. I was her teammate, so he followed me because of her. And I was like, oh, shit, you got Drake to follow me? Like, what the hell? Like, that's so crazy. So he followed me, and I lost it. I'm like, I have Drake. Like, I love Drake.
I've seen a lot of people talk about this clip also with the whole like basketball thing. First of all, what are you doing at women's basketball games? He said he specifically liked high school women's basketball, and that's double weird. A lot of people were saying this is because he had a goddaughter that played at the event, so that's why he's there. That's why he's there. It's completely fine. It's his goddaughter's there. But that was not true. That was volleyball, not basketball. He was with his goddaughter at volleyball events, not the basketball events. The basketball events, he was on his own. Why? God knows. He just loves the basketball, man. He just loves women's basketball, specifically high school. Right? Come on, guys. There's nothing weird about that. It's Drake. He made Take Care. And keep in mind, this is all just public. This is not even to mention what happened privately. Once again, the thread has some other stuff in there, and then we're not going to really get into, because those are, while you can definitely say those are inappropriate, I don't necessarily care about those too much. Overall, just a really weird history with underage girls, and kind of reminds me of like Leonardo DiCaprio. Now, once again, for anyone that maybe still be like, oh, where's the proof that he's grooming these girls? He's talking to these girls, starting the interaction when they're young, at least to Bella Harris and Haley. They were both 16, 15 years old. And then after that, when they turn 18, he becomes a lot more touchy-feely with them. That is the literal textbook definition of what grooming is. Grooming, training, preparing, or conditioning someone, usually over a longer period of time. Also used to refer to a P-word process of building trust with a child, wearing down the child's boundaries. You think Drake sliding into your DMs is something that's not suspicious? Sliding into their DMs when they're like 15, 16, all these celebrities 15, 16, 17, and then when they turn 18, that's when you say things like, I've been waiting, taking pictures with them being like very touchy-feely. Coincidence? I don't know. Maybe it's a coincidence. Maybe once again, he's just completely fine. Maybe he just likes teaching the young youth, specifically girls. Maybe the 37-year-old man, he just likes interacting with the youth, guys. He just likes interacting with the youth. I guarantee you, if this was anybody else, you guys would not be saying this. But hey, man, it is what it is. Now, the last thing that I kind of wanted to talk about with the whole Drake being weird thing, there's a quote around that a lot of people agree with, right? And that is the quote of, you are who you surround yourself with. You have at least something in common with these people. That's the reason you're hanging out with them. If you had nothing in common with them, then why would you hang out with them? Why not hang around people who actually have similarities to you? You can gauge a person's personality and kind of who they are as a person based on the people who they choose to interact with, surround themselves with. And just to be clear, I'm not talking about necessarily their values or what exactly they believe in, right? Because I believe you can make friends with people and have disagreements about certain beliefs that they have compared to your beliefs, right? However, I'm more talking about how they conduct themselves in public and how they live their everyday life. How do they interact with people? And do they do weird stuff around? And if so, then what does that say about you if you hang around those people? That's basically what I'm talking about. I'm not necessarily talking about values and what they believe in, but just how they operate on a basis level of how they interact with people. I think this is an aspect of Drake that not a lot of people actually really talk about. Interactions with underage girls aside, but let's say you just completely denounce all of it. How about we talk about the people who Drake has surrounded himself with? And let's check out their history to see exactly how Drake is, okay? Let's see. Now, it's interesting because Kendrick actually said this in Not Like Us. If we go to the lyrics, there's a couple interesting bars I kind of want to go to and kind of focus on for this section, right? So let's go to this iconic line, Certified Lover Boy. Let's go to this line. Kendrick is also referring to the rest of Drake's entourage as PDF files. You know, the entourage that brought the 17-year-old up. For example, Travis Savory, known as Baka Not Nice, who, as you guys know, is flat out in Drake's website of OVO Sound. He's in the description. Not like they're hiding him or anything. He flat out is right there. This is who someone that Drake associates with. Was previously a former security guard who signed with Drake's record label OVO Sound. In 2014, Baka was arrested and charged with and human trafficking. Kendrick previously claimed in Drake's entourage was filled with offenders on a previous diss track, Meet the Grams. Now, he actually did talk about Baka, so this is the line right before this. He says, and Baka got a weird case, why is he around? So let's go ahead and look at what the Baka case was previously. In 2014, Baka was arrested and charged with forcing a 22-year-old woman into prostitution and taking her money. Baka's trafficking case was dismissed after she refused to testify and was instead convicted of assaulting her. This led to Drake mentioning Baka's release from jail on the 2015 track Know Yourself, where he said, I might declare it a holiday as soon as Baka get back on the road. Ooh, name dropped the dude too. And Drake also said when Baka got out of jail, there was a lot of different paths he could have took and he decided to focus on music. Ooh, interesting. Here is, I think this is when he came out of jail. I'm pretty sure this is that. This is that right there. Kendrick questions Drake's decision to keep Baka around, which goes with his other accusations that Drake is a offender. It's interesting how inconvenient how the dude who talks to a bunch of teenage girls and takes them out and shuts down dinners just so he can take out these teenagers and a 13-year-old at his house hangs out with a guy who is literally known for sex trafficking. Now, there's also some people mention like Party Next Door, who was someone that is like drug use, but like I don't really care about that. Chubbs, who's one of the key members of Drake's OVO. Kendrick is likely implying that Chubbs is the one Drake is giving family-like charity to, whereas he only has other, likely sexual interests in the younger family members of the woman that he sleeps with, rather than being interested in helping or nurturing them. This is a key member of Drake's OVO, by the way. Once again, not confirmed, and you're completely right. Let's go to the John Stockton bar. I'm finna pass on this body, I'm John Stockton. This is Kendrick references NBA legend Don Stockton of the Utah Jazz. Why did I say it like that? Kendrick references NBA legend John Stockton of the Utah Jazz, who holds the record for most assists in NBA history with 15,806. That's cool and all. Stockton famously played much of his career alongside power forward Karl Malone, hence his reputation as a passer. Malone, however, is notorious for impregnating a 13-year-old girl in 1983 at age 20. This was a long time ago, guys, okay? This is not something that happened recently or anything. Keep that in mind. Kendrick is playing into the rumors of a PDF file surrounding Drake, while also suggesting that he can skillfully move past this moment if he chooses to. And if you guys see here, we see Karl Malone, you know, the guy we just saw impregnate a 13-year-old girl, with this tweet here. We started from the bottom, now we're here at Drake. Keep in mind, this was in 2017. This was not taken in 1982. This was public information of him knowing. And yeah, this pic is real. This is Karl Malone's thing. This is the official Twitter of him. And here we have him with a picture of Drake right there. Started from the bottom, now we're here. This is two individuals now, possibly three, but I'll say two, that have had a confirmed weird history around underage girls / trafficking girls that Drake just hangs around with. He part of the entourage, dog. And once again, that is just the people that are confirmed. Drake is hanging around these people. Why? Well, I'll let you be the judge of that. Kendrick has some stuff in here. It's not like all this stuff is fabricated. Drake has confirmed weird behavior around underage girls. He has friends who have very weird behavior around underage girls, and he's choosing to hang out with these people. So look, am I saying Drake is a confirmed PDF file? Not in the slightest. I don't think there is reason to say that he's a PDF file, and I don't think there's enough evidence right now out there to confirm that whatsoever. Even saying he's a groomer, a confirmed 100% groomer, is something I will not outright say, but there are some disturbing patterns this dude has with underage girls, and I wouldn't be surprised if he is one, because he seemingly displays similar behaviors and actions to what a groomer would do if they were in his shoes. And if you deny that, you are living in a fantasy world. There is clearly behavioral patterns with each of these girls that he's interacting with, and they are very inappropriate. But let's get into another accusation real quick. Drake's daughter being real. Now, before we get to this, we're kind of going to have a little backstory as to why there were people and reactors and streamers panicking when they heard the news that Kendrick was talking about them having a child. So
somebody gotta die!
There's actually a very significant reason on why that's the case and why this was the main thing that a lot of people cared about. And this is because it would essentially be a repeat of what happened when Drake had a battle with Pusha T, something Kendrick mentioned back in Euphoria. That battle is an entire other can of worms that we can get into at another time if y'all want. It led to Pusha T putting out a track called The Story of Adidon. And the main thing he was talking about was the girl he was with, and was talking about his child, who we now know as Adonis, which like bro, were you even taking care of the kid? Like, well, what the hell's going on? Just for some enthusiasts to get refreshed, the reason why he brought up Adonis in the song is because in the track Drake released called Duppy Freestyle, he essentially name dropped his fiance, and that's why he responded in the way that he did. Sound familiar? So here we go. He says, since you name dropped my fiance, let him know who you chose as your Beyonce. Sophie knows better as your baby mother. Cleaned her up for IG, but the stench is on her. A baby's involved is deeper than rap. We talking character, let me keep with the facts. You're hiding a child, let that boy come home. Deadbeat motherfucker playing border control. Damn! Pusha responds to Drake name dropping Pusha's fiance by calling him out for hiding his child with artist and former prawn star Sophie Broussard, whose Instagram handle is Sophie Knows Better. In May 2017, TMZ reported that Broussard claimed she was pregnant with Drake's baby and that they weren't on good terms. Drake's rep discredited her claims, including suggesting she was using this as a way of getting into the United States. This comment and Broussard living in France likely inspired the Border Patrol lyric. She gave birth to a boy in October 2017. Drake admitted to having a secret child multiple times on his June 2018 album Scorpion, including on Emotionless and March 14. On the former, he rapped, "I wasn't hiding my kid from the world, I was hiding the world from my kid. From empty souls who just wake up and look to debate. Until you staring at your seed, you can never relate." Which is hilarious that he says this, because he literally is the one like flaunting his kid around like all the time. Which I'm not saying it's a bad thing. You should be proud that he's your kid and whatnot. But it's interesting that after he said this, did not mind whatsoever of him being on social media and him being on all these different channels and stuff. So, I mean, it's just a very interesting change of heart that I noticed, right? But anyways, let's get back to present day. Is Drake's daughter real? Now, this is going to be way less bloated than the PDF file Accusations. With the allegations that Drake has an 11-year-old secret daughter, there's no real proof on either side, so it's either you believe it or you don't. And despite what I've said about Drake pretty much this entire time and kind of hinted to where I lie with the whole thing of him being weird, I am more of an innocent until proven guilty kind of person. So I personally am going to give Drake the benefit of the doubt. For now. But there are some interesting things that I wanted to bring up. I want to start by making a disclaimer that these are Kendrick's friends. These are not friends of Drake or completely like third-party people. If they were completely third-party people, it's looking rough. This person says, "No way, dog. Kendrick Lamar's friend from Compton answers OVO Mal and confirms Drake has a daughter. He's the one on the front of To Pimp a Butterfly album in the middle holding the bottle. If this is real, Meet the Grams will be the greatest diss track ever."
This nigga is taking his fake information. I told y'all this on Family Matters when I said, you digging for dirt, you should be digging for proof. I got pictures of the little girl, all in the video plastered on the wall. I'm playing with this dumb nigga, and he's going for it. I'm the most lit nigga in the game. Y'all mad, and there's no skeletons in my closet. I'm not no fucking stop. That's the only thing y'all niggas know that could fucking end my run is me being, and it doesn't exist. Stop the bullshit. But you, Mr. Lamar, you hit your girl because she's bigger than you. You put your hands on your girls. You've been engaged for years. You're not married yet. You living in New York. She's not. Let's talk real shit. All this 11-year-old daughter shit y'all talking about. And because he released it right after the Family Matters. It's a better record. Get the fuck out of here with that shit.
We didn't say it was a better record. We said Family Matters is probably the best song in this whole shit.
It ain't no probably, nigga. It's the best record that's released in this entire beat.
They genuinely were sucking hard.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I'm sorry. I gotta interrupt this. That bro was on PP, bro. He was on schlong. Oh my gosh. My man was on schlong, dog. Holy hell. He said, ain't no probably. It's the best song. Like, geez, calm down, brother. Dang, calm down.
See, that's when we gotta get out.
Hey, I'm gonna say. Hey.
That's when we gotta say something.
To be real, all I'm gonna say is this. To the world, that girl just had a birthday. That's all I'm gonna say. And that ain't her in the video.
I'm sorry, Maul, if niggas hurt your feelings, gang, but you a fan, you a fan. Family Matters is not the best song throughout the beef.
Basically what they're alluding to is that Drake in the music video, he had like some little girl in the video on the wall, like something like a picture of her plastered on the wall. It was really weird. And this is, I don't want to bring this up because I'm not trying to bring this attention, but basically people like looked up the girl and said that that was not her. I think people like deconfirmed that theory of what's going on, which is why I didn't mention it in the video. I am not trying to bring up like little girls into this, dog. Now this is from Kendrick's friend Eero Lux. He's gonna say, not gonna lie, Drake having a daughter might be legit, but they can't say more because of the after effects of it. This is what Kendrick's friend said. While it's a bit weird for Dot to address it but not expand upon it, it makes sense as to why it would be risky to give details.
I'm saying, up the whole uptown. L.I. Shout out to Italy. We trying to see that birthday party pics. Nah, we show you the birthday party pics, bro. It's gonna be like, motherfuckers gonna be going after that little girl and bullying her, so we ain't on that, bro. I just need to keep it hip-hop or we will get personal.
These are two people who confirmed that she had a birthday recently, and people were asking for pics, and he said, nah, because if we send to that, then we're putting like little girls into it. And I do agree with that. I think that's very distasteful to do. I know people are kind of mad that Kendrick never proved that the girl exists, but I think for the sake of her privacy, I think it's best if you just keep it as she's just a second daughter. If she's real, just let her be a little girl, man. Just let her be a little girl. This does not automatically prove these are real. These are Kendrick's friends, to be fair. It's definitely some food for thought. Once again, it's still kind of standoffish, whether you believe it or not. It's up to you. This was the one thing that I don't think has been proven or anything along those lines, as I said before. I also don't think Kendrick is the type of person to lie about this, and it's definitely not out of the realm of impossibility. Even though I'm going to say innocent until proven guilty on the end of him having a daughter, there's definitely aspects of Drake. Let's be completely honest with ourselves, guys. Are we really gonna be shocked if we know that Drake has another daughter or not? The dude's a complete whore. Like, genuinely, he's a man whore. He was celebrating the fact that his nudes were out there, which is also really weird. And he even did that thing a long time ago with the girl with the hot sauce, you know, the thing where he put hot sauce in his condom so the girl couldn't like use it. That is someone who's had experience with that before, right? So I just personally feel like because he's dealt with all these girls and whatnot, and he's been very, very reckless, him unintentionally having a kid could definitely be something that is a likely possibility. In fact, I would say it's very, very likely that that's the case, that he has more than one kid around. Once again, it is completely possible that this is the case. I just want to be fair. Now I'm gonna say innocent until proven guilty, but I'm not gonna sit there and try and research into this further, mostly because once again, it's dealing with a little girl and I just don't feel comfortable doing that. So we'll just leave it there, okay? So we've been talking a lot about what Drake has been accused of, but I want to be fair. So let's view what Kendrick was accused of, which the only thing that I really care about, I don't really care about the Dave Freeze thing too much, is him being a wife. Domestic violence is not something to play around with. And if this is true, that is really bad for Kendrick. Once again, similar to Drake having a second child, there is no proof of this happening that's come out really. And I couldn't really find anything except a very interesting article involving a website that was made during the beef called okliar.com. Kendrick Lamar domestic violence allegations resurfaced thanks to mysterious Okliar website. This kind of talks about a website that happened very soon after the release of Meet the Grams, which once again we'll get into. Kendrick Lamar and Drake have been in a pretty heated feud as of late. Although some have Kendrick winning right now, there's no doubt the fans want him to answer for some things. Overall, the biggest allegation against him is that he has been physical with his fiancée, Whitney Alford. In fact, Drake alleged that the two are no longer together and that Lamar's violence is the reason why. Now, people think this may be the case because apparently she made a post from 2022 where she wrote, "I was stuck in a time and place that was no longer my reality and was no longer serving me. My babies forced me to take a long look at myself and journey back through the very things that made me. I've always carried the light with me. As a child, no one was able to help me process. Many times, silence was enforced because my emotions were a lot to handle. Hiding my pain has been a technique I've mastered my entire life. Mask it with a smile and everything is good. Silence has been my superpower, protecting me in the most vulnerable spaces. Then I was referred to a great therapist." She continued, "After a few years of hard work, I can finally say I hear my own voice again, and it's very powerful. I use my smile when it feels genuine, and it's beautiful. Allowing the world in and sharing my experience is one of my greatest fears, but truth is always very important to me. me. I lived a sober life, feeling every single part of it, with the exception of mastering how to float when it's all too much to yearn. But I yearn myself to be centered, to flow, to heal, to enjoy life. So Kendrick and Whitney have been, from what I understand, together since like high school. We don't know if the two are no longer together. Keep in mind also that Whitney herself has not said anything in this, which could allude to the fact that maybe she's using her silence mechanism to not really say anything on the matter, or the claim is so ridiculous that there is no need to say anything, which could be entirely possible as well. I know there's some Drake fans who are saying that that's cap, that's not true, he needs to respond, she needs to respond, but in all honesty, if it didn't happen, does he really need to respond? Does he really? I don't think so. Fans have dug up the allegation from 2014 that Kendrick allegedly beat a woman at the Hard Rock Casino. The video is unlisted but can be accessed through a new website called okliar.com, which is meant to be a parody of Oklahoma. Okay Llama. What the hell? What does that even mean? Throughout the video, the woman alleges that Kendrick was the perpetrator and that his team helped him to cover it all up. The new OK Liar website was made about 30 minutes ago and was shared by a plethora of sources, including DJ Academics. The website has a Meet the Grams parody on it where it calls Kendrick the true liar. So let's go ahead and look at the site. So this is the site right here. There is nothing, it's just a white background and everything. There's a store here, which basically has this OK Liar sold out. I don't think it's sold out because this is part of the image, so I mean this is already a lie. Maybe that's the whole point, I guess. I don't know. So on top of that, there is this right here where it just says liar on it. Here is the thing. So this is once again kind of a parody of when Kendrick was saying Drake lied about this, you lied about this. He says Kendrick lied about his lifestyle. I don't think that's true. Kendrick lied about abusing his fiance. Kendrick lied about not chasing clout. Kendrick lied about his truth. Kendrick lied about Drake starting this. I don't think he ever said that, but okay. Also, I think he did technically start this because I think this all started with his album. So Kendrick lied about having paperwork. Kendrick lied about constantly cheating on his wife with white women. Kendrick lied about not teaming up with others to get the #1 spot. Kendrick lied about not having bot spam accounts and keep pages on payroll. Kendrick lied about others so they wouldn't believe the truth. I think some of these things are like lies. Pretty sure he's not lying about his lifestyle. So it's an interesting thing to say he lied about, but okay. Once again, all this stuff, non-alleged. I don't even know half the things we're talking about here. Not having spam bots and keeping pages on payroll. I know a lot of people were saying that Kendrick had bots to run up his views on his music, but I just don't think that's true. And Drake has pretty much the same amount of views, except like not like us. So you would have to accuse like Drake of doing the same thing, because there's no way people are viewing Drake but not Kendrick. That makes no sense. So this person saying that he just lied about like his whole identity. They show nothing proof of it. However, here are the lies. It's in this black folder here. So here we start off, we have a picture of Kendrick here, and then this is his wife down here. And I assume what is supposed to be the smoking gun is to say that she has a black eye here. Now, it's interesting how they choose the image with the literal worst lighting on planet Earth. So I can't even tell if that's true. Like, we can zoom into the image, I guess. It's just like, you can't really see anything. Now, I understand it kind of does look like a little bit of a black eye, I guess, but it's just so hard to tell. Her other eye is partly covered by light, so you can't even really see it. Those could easily be bags. Like, there's just so much to it that, like, I don't even think is really worth speculating on. And the second thing is this video, and then there's a thing down here that said, shortly after Media Takeout published the article, we reached out to first by people we know who worked at Kendrick's former label / management TDE, who asked us to delete the article. We were told that the woman in the video is lying and that the incident never happened. Media Takeout took the matter seriously and began a more thorough investigation into the woman making the claims and the claims themselves. We confirmed that she did work as security at the Hard Rock Casino, but we're not able to confirm any of the details of an alleged assault. We also confirmed that Kendrick was at the Hard Rock Casino on the day in question. So this is talking about the assault that happened, I believe, in 2014 of the video that resurfaced. And this was kind of the video. I am not sure how they got this. It's unlisted, but yeah, you can see they even made their own account too, dog. They even made their own account. 380 subscribers. They made this on May 8th, 2024. So that's really interesting as well. You know, we'll get into later, but yeah.
So she ended up pressing charges, I think. Last thing I heard, and I had to do a huge report, and then hopefully I didn't have to go to court, but I didn't.
So, first of all, my thing is, if she made a report, there's a confirmed police report out there. Since this person has like all the information, why not share the police report? That should be pretty easy to get, I'm pretty sure. So, does that even exist? Do these police reports exist? I don't know.
No, I didn't meet him. I met all of his friends because they were all trying to get into that room, and then we had to detain anyone trying to get in the room because the cops made us lock it out.
Now, wait a second. I got a little behind. Are you telling me that this particular rapper had like a large group of
He had like
people
7 rooms.
with him? Really? Like an entourage? At the Hard Rock where you had to physically apprehend.
Okay, I'm gonna rat someone out.
Yeah.
So, Memorial Day weekend, it was Memorial Day or it was fight weekend? I don't remember.
Oh, they're both. There was a big UFC fight. There's always a big UFC fight Memorial Day weekend.
Well, no, it was Memorial Day weekend and then, it was fight weekend and then Memorial Day weekend. And I don't remember, I think it was Memorial Day.
I know I was there for a fight on Memorial Day weekend.
Whatever. Anyways, so I get dispatched up to one of the rooms.
Dispatched, that's lingo. That's technical inside.
I'm going to end up talking in code.
She was told to.
Yeah. The call came over the radio.
I got told to go up to her room to help some girl get down to the casino because she was scared. She ends up being all bloody and everything. Oh, good. Oh, yeah, it was lovely. So I'm like, oh, crap. And so I had to call, like, my supervisor, then I had to call my other supervisor, then I had to call my boss. And I was like, we got a situation. Because, like, half of her face was, like, blown out pretty much.
Oh,
so I'm like, oh, lovely. And come to find out, she was with a certain rapper who had assaulted her.
Was his first name Lil?
No.
That'll narrow it down.
His first name was Kendrick.
Kendrick Lamar?
Yeah.
Wait, it was him? What did he do? I mean,
he beat up some chick. It was like, there was like blood all over.
Did this stuff go out on TMZ yet? Because I think I need to make a phone call.
It's supposed to be hidden, but no one knows I'm on here, so it's okay.
Oh, no. Catch out of the bag now.
Basically, that was kind of the thing. They had a dispatch. They went up. They saw like some girl who was like very bloodied, and she said it was Kendrick Lamar. I'm not gonna hold you guys. I don't know how much I believe just a regular testimony. I feel like if this person had the idea to make an entire website dedicated to Kendrick, this information and stuff, it feels a little bit underwhelming. They make this whole website, and they only have 3 links. One is a picture that you can barely make out. You can easily just chalk it up to lighting as well. There's other issues with the other claims, and to say that him and his team took down the article, while you could say that might be him hiding it, it could also just be that these claims just aren't true at all and they want to take it down for slander. It could just be that as well. Now, there is the woman's testimony here, but I'm pretty sure this was disproven a very long time ago, and this kind of goes into Kendrick saying that he lives a boring life and that there's really nothing on him, because this is honestly the best this person could do, which once again I'm pretty sure he disproved, which we're gonna look at. So this person says the alleged incident took place in 2014. There's holes all in it. It was allegedly a white woman and it was in Texas. I don't know why on the site it makes it seem like it was Bonnaroo last year. The fact that Drake mentions a crisis management team tells me they just took this alleged incident and spun it however they wanted to make it even more dramatic. A very famous black man beating up a white woman in a packed hotel / casino close to 10 years ago, and this is the only person who has come forward. Something doesn't smell right about that. I feel like if this was the case, I understand him hiding it, I get it, but at the same time, if a story like this went out, it would do numbers. You don't think there's any article or anything besides that TMZ one, which they told him to take down, that are flash reporting this like at all? Also, where are the police reports? Why did you not post them in the thing? Also, this person said, I want to know if the police were all there the night of the incident, why didn't it go any further? The police took the case very seriously, so surely they would have to have done an investigation. If that's the case, the prosecutor must have deemed Kendrick to not be the one responsible for the beating. Not all court cases and charges filed are public, and this seems to be the case with this incident, if we can even confirm the incident did 100% happen, because there's no real evidence that proves it happened. I know crisis management, but really zero evidence whatsoever. I don't think even the best cleanup crew ever would be that efficient to completely remove all evidence from the internet whatsoever. It may also have been settled privately before charges were pressed. Police have also done an investigation without charges charges being pressed by the victim and found Kendrick wasn't responsible, and thus the prosecutor didn't feel the need to discuss the charges further. The whole situation is muddy with uncertain information from a secondhand source, which may not even be credible, unless there's proof from this lady was there the night in the incident. I haven't looked into it any further. I'm not downplaying this or saying that isn't a possibility Kendrick did it, because there is, but we'll never know for sure whether he did it or not unless the victim publicly comes forward and gives her side of the story, or some kind of legal documents are shown. I don't know how much I believe it, honestly. So this is the only bit of context that we have about this incident. Once again, you could be like, okay, maybe this girl is completely telling the truth. But Kendrick actually did respond to these rumors a very long time ago on The Breakfast Club, basically denying that it happened and that he was ever there. It's basically like a her word against his word type thing, and I feel like he has more credibility and someone would have called him out at this point. But let's view the clip once again.
Yeah. When they said you were in Vegas and you beat some guy bloody and you did something to some female. Yeah. And they said they had evidence and all of this, and then I never heard anything about it again.
Yeah, because it's foolishness. That's the most ignorant stuff I've ever heard made up on
I was like, Kendrick did that? I doubt it.
And, you know, that person who ever made that up owes an apology. Not to me, but to women that actually go out there and get abused. You dig what I'm saying? That's a real issue, and to be putting a person name that you know that stands for someone way more better, that's been raised way more better than that. That's not cool. It's people out there that really get abused, and there's women out there that get abused and don't say nothing, and you know live their lives through that. So that's
but I was like, I'm sure if that happened, there'd have been a police report. You would have been arrested.
That's foolishness. That's ignorant. That's all the way ignorant. 100%.
Ultimately, it's his word against hers. For me, as I've said with Drake, I am innocent until proven guilty. So until I see some type of report or until I see someone come out about it, which no one has, convenient, because this would be a perfect time to do so. It would be a perfect time for Drake to use his resources that he paying to get like the girl that this happened to respond. If this was true, it would be the smoking gun that would make this claim, basically. If you want to say he's guilty and he's lying here, you can, I guess, but there is no proof on either side. But I am innocent till proven guilty, and I think that's the right way to do things. So until there is something that comes out, I think Kendrick is innocent here. Just like how I'm gonna give Drake the benefit of the doubt with the second daughter, I'm gonna give Kendrick the benefit of the doubt when it comes to this. I feel like there would have been something, right? The fact that there's nothing else besides that one clip is very suspicious to me. By the way, while I was editing this video, I went on the OK Liar website again to just check something. And y'all, check this out. I don't know when it happened. I don't know where. I'm on okliar.com and it's completely gone. The whole site is completely gone. Bruh, that's insane. I guess now I really don't believe any of those claims like whatsoever that was on that website. It seemed like it was just a place to just bring up old drama that's already been resolved. There you have it. The last thing I wanted to mention about this whole thing is that the brother of Whitney did actually respond when Kendrick Lamar released Not Like Us on May 5th. Taylor Alford, who once again is Whitney Alford's brother, said, F him up, bro. Now look, you can say that maybe Taylor Alford is a pussy. He's a coward and a loser, and he just wants clout or something. However, if this were me, and I don't care who it is, if you're beating on a family member of mine or anything like that, I'm not going to sit there and big you up saying F them up, bro. I'm just not going to be doing that. That's just not how that works. So honestly, that leads me even more to believe that these are false, because I feel like there would be some crazy stuff going on in the background if that was the case, and he definitely would not be responding to a simple rap beef. Once again, you could argue the silence is an admission of guilt, but otherwise it could be an admission that it's not even worth responding to. Also, Kendrick already did respond saying that Drake was going to lie about his family, which is a great strategic move regardless if the claims are false or not, because you're going to look at Drake's claims under a microscope, and under a microscope it really does not seem like there's anything there to really push apart. There was a claim back in 2014, he already disproved that. If he already disproved it, why would he need to say it again? So there's just a bunch of things that kind of leads me more to believe that Kendrick is innocent, and I don't think there's any allegations here, and this once again could be Drake's desperate attempt to try to bring up something damning, like him being a PDF file and calling him the equivalent of Harvey Weinstein. There wasn't really anything else. There was a whole Dave Freeze thing, which once again, if that did happen, that is more a Whitney L than a Kendrick L, and much more more of a friend L than anything. And honestly, I think Patrick CC actually brought a really, really good point.
But really the only damning accusations from Drake are that Kendrick beats his girl and that one of his kids is actually from his business partner. Obviously we know why domestic violence is bad. That doesn't need to be explained. And it's pretty obvious to see why, if that information was proven somehow, that would genuinely make people look at Kendrick Lamar differently. And as far as one of his kids potentially not being his, while that information is shocking, one could also argue that Kendrick choosing to raise a child that he knows isn't his is honorable. I mean, I was raised by my stepdad and I love him to death. I mean, it would hurt your image if you're some sort of like macho man Andrew Tate type of guy, but Kendrick never pushed that. So honestly, you could argue that Kendrick would just look like even more of a better man if he was raising a kid that wasn't his.
So yeah, that's why I also don't put much into the Dave Freeze thing or anything like that. It's just kind of like, it's there if you want to make fun of Kendrick. Oh, your friend f***ed your girl. I mean, that's funny for sure, and for the rap beef, it's funny. But for kind of just the overall picture, I think there's more pressing issues that was said that need to be addressed. So that's why I didn't really cover the Dave Freeze thing. So that's the case even if it were true, but DJ Academics actually pretty much confirmed that this is most likely isn't true, and this was just some gossip that Drake was trying to throw around.
Now, I'll you know, and again, I'm trying to be also fair too. By the way, I think both of these guys put their fair shares of lies in there too, in the battle, right? Drake doesn't have a kid. Kendrick lied. But Kendrick's kid isn't Dave Freeze, from my understanding. So Drake lied. So there's lies all in this.
Now, once again, is he massively over-exaggerating here? I think Drake has lied significantly more than Kendrick, as you can kind of see here. The daughter is the only thing that you can say that he hasn't really proven, but honestly, I'm kind of fine with that, as I said before. Okay, one more thing about this, I swear. And I won't talk too much about it because that'll be reserved for another time, but the Not Like Us music video actually seemed like it featured Kendrick and Whitney's statements to these 3 different accusations regarding their relationship that Drake supposedly put on blast in Family Matters. Specifically in the section where both them and their kids are like in the foreground, basically like dancing around and having fun, and essentially just like crip walking on the grave of Drake. While this scene is really, really short, you don't see a lot of it, it actually seemed to counter 3 different claims that Drake made in Family Matters. For one, we have the claim that Kendrick is a wife bopper and that he hired a crisis management team to cover it up, where he said they hired a crisis management to clean up the fact that you beat on your queen. Now, in the video, you notice that Whitney is actually wearing a wife beater in the video, which after kind of understanding a little of how Kendrick operates through the last month or so of me like doing a bunch of research about this whole thing, I don't think this was a coincidence whatsoever. So I personally think that this is a response from Whitney, since she's the one wearing the wife beater, essentially saying that Drake is wrong about that claim. I saw like a couple posts on Twitter basically saying like she looks afraid in the video or something, and I was like, bro, okay. Yeah, y'all are 100% reaching. But yeah, I mean, if you look in the video, she's dancing around, having fun. It doesn't really seem like there's anything going on, and this seems like her response to Drake saying that she's fine. Now then, there's the initial shot of them together looking like they're about to take a family photo, right? Which I believe that was supposed to be a reply to Drake's claim that his children aren't his and are actually Dave Freeze's. I mean, that's Drake's whole main line of Family Matters, you know, like Dave Freeze. And then on top of that, it was the cover art for the Heart Part 6 was him doing the little like heart emoji and stuff like that, which I believe was a post with Whitney and her children. Now, as I've said before, like with this whole thing, this claim has basically been deconfirmed, but just in case you had any other skepticism, he puts it to bed here, because when you look at this, you can clearly see that both his kids are definitely his, especially when you look at some of the more unique traits that the kids have, like their ears, for example, which a lot of people actually pointed out on Twitter, basically saying that there's no possible way that's not his kids. I mean, Kendrick has a very unique ear shape and his kids have the exact same ear shape, and from what I see, Dave Freeze does not have that trait about them. So I think the framing of the initial shot definitely was for the sake of disproving that lie that Drake told in the beef. Also, I just want to say there is no way that this is a convenience that he and Dave Freeze are the only ones that produced this entire video for Not Like Us. They're definitely still on good terms, which once again disproves that claim even further. So unless unless you have a very irrational hatred towards Kendrick Lamar, this Dave Freeze claim pretty much has no legs to stand on. And if you want to prove otherwise, then you can, but I just don't think that there's anything to it. Now, the last claim that I think is indirectly responded to in this shot is when Drake alleged that he and Whitney don't live together and aren't even an item anymore due to the alleged boppage that went on, saying that Kendrick moved to New York and that their love was completely over. Now, considering that in this scene, they're in their house together, dancing with their children and whatnot, the response explains itself, right? These guys are clearly happy together and they seem like a genuine family. Now, I'm not sure if this is the actual house they live in or anything, but it seems that once again, this is their response, showing that Kendrick and Whitney are fine and their family is fine. Their family dynamic is fine. You could even see the way the kids are like having fun, like it's a natural thing. And there's a bunch of other things in the video, like his relationship with Top Dog Entertainment and stuff that he addresses in the music video, but I'm gonna cover that at another time in another video. And I won't lie, looking back on Family Matters as a song in retrospect, Drake has no room to talk about living that bachelor life despite having a kid, because like, dude, you had to pour hot sauce in a condom because you're that much of a whore. Let's not even be dissing him or anything. He owns that shit. I'm just saying he has no room to talk. Now, whether or not you believe what Kendrick is trying to tell you and not like us is up to you. If you think that he's lying, then that's your prerogative. And I'm gonna let you guys be the judge of that and come to your own conclusion. One thing I will say though, is that this is most likely going to be the only time that we get some sort of response about the claims regarding their relationship. Both Kendrick and Whitney seem to be very private with their family, so I assume he or Whitney don't want to keep talking about their business like this and kind of want to move on, right? Once again, I'll probably go into more detail about the overall music video later, but I just wanted to talk about this because if not, this part won't really feel complete, as once again, this is an official response supposedly from Kendrick. So anyways, next topic. Now let's talk about Drake putting out a hit on Kendrick to get some info about him, right? This was something that Kendrick said back during 616 in LA, where he just outright stated that Drake was trying to get info on him by putting money out there for anyone that had any. It was fun until you started to put money in the streets, then lost money because they came back with no receipts. I'm sorry that I live a boring life. I love peace, but war ready if the world is ready to see you bleed. Now this would be an incredibly stupid move by him if true, and this definitely makes Drake's other claims, like one of his biggest, which is that Kendrick is bopping his wife, or any of the other stuff that he said about Whitney, it makes it very flimsy and questionable at the same time, especially since there's really nothing out there on that. Also, this wouldn't be much of a surprise because apparently Drake had actually done this before with Pusha T. So you see Pusha T here, he says, you got 100K floating around for info, can't no amount of money create skeletons that don't exist. Once again, this is another accusation, another behavior that Drake had done to Pusha T, and he put it out there with Kendrick.
Pusha T already declared himself the winner of his battle with Drake based on the gut punch of the story of Adidon, but he may have spoken too soon. Push says that Drake wouldn't be able to find any skeletons in his closet, but he's also hearing that Drizzy is putting up $100,000 for any incriminating information on Push's past. Pusha T hinted at this via Twitter on Thursday night. You got 100K floating around for info? Can't no amount of money create skeletons that don't exist. Hashtag I'm upset. How did Push find out this information? It's kind of hard to say, but the $100,000 figure is an interesting note for people who have dived into the lyrics on Kanye West's latest album, Ye. Many are speculating that Kanye is referring to the same thing on the second song, Yikes. A hospital band, 100 bands, a watch, 100 grand, I'll make your best friends turn to ops.
So this would already be a pattern of behavior that Drake has established previously when he's gotten a beef with other artists, right? Now, this is not concrete or anything. They didn't show any proof of this, but it's just them saying it. But there was something that had came out where the apparent person that finessed Drake out of 150K, which is a crazy number by the way, said in an interview that confirmed that Drake did indeed do that.
Can you speak on the 150K Drake put out for the info?
Oh hell yeah, that ain't discreet. I can talk about this shit. Let's. Oh, I like these conversations. This is street shit. Okay, let me tell you about it. This bitch ass nigga Drake sent some niggas to Atlanta, not knowing. See, this is why I say Kendrick fucked him up at. Kendrick power trickled down to me. He tried to come down here and give some niggas some money for information on Kendrick. So they come to me. They try to get one of my little homies 150K. They try to give him 100K, right? So I say, what they asking for? They say they want to know something about Kendrick. I said, Kendrick ain't from Atlanta or fucking Chicago. So what the fuck they asking? They said, what do you know about that? What did you know about Whitney and all that shit? And I said, Whitney who? My girl? I said, cause my girl name Whitney. They said, no, Kendrick girl. I said, Whitney is up there with him. Now mind you, that's a bombshell. They don't know that. Drake talking all that shit about why you live in New York. I said, oh, they stupid. I said, take the money. I'm gonna tell them a lie. So I took the 100. I said, matter of fact, on top of that, I said, tell them put the 50K on it, and I'll tell them where they at. I told them Kendrick was in fucking LA still. They gave me the money, and I gave 50K to my niggas, and they was like, oh, we got it. And they was like, why you in? The next song, what was that song? What song? Family Ties came out, and we laughed. And I said, that nigga's stupid. They gave me I said, give me 50 more K and I'll tell you something. I said, okay, they in LA right now. Mind you, Whitney and fucking Kendrick is in fucking New York at the time. That nigga was
getting street. He ain't street. He doesn't know this shit. He's getting played.
Exactly. He a Canadian nigga trying to get information from Black Americans from the hood.
Don't know nothing about this violence.
That nigga,
he got extorted.
That nigga stupid. That's why I was talking crazy on the timeline the other day. I said, I got this nigga. I said, I got 150 bands for nothing. You gave me 150 bands. I should have asked for 200. But that nigga went and put Family Ties out, and then Kendrick smoked his ass. I was like, well, that's what you get for trying to. He said you try to put money in the streets, and you came back with no receipts. I said, exactly, nigga. I said, you stupid ass nigga. He's fucking.
And it's not the first time he's done that, because it backfired with Pusha too. This nigga can't learn from his mistakes, clearly.
Once again, this person didn't provide any proof or anything. However, once again, it does reflect what happened with Pusha. And when there's smoke, there's fire. And once again, there's no proof of either side going on. But it is weird that this happened twice, where Drake put out 100K specifically onto the streets to find some information about a particular person. Okay guys, I'm not gonna hold you. I am just so confused about this part. This is editing me back here. So I wanted to do a little more research on this Cooley person because I was just curious if he was telling the truth or not about this. And look, apparently this rabbit hole goes so deep and I'm getting like different sides to this. There's conflicting information everywhere about this dude. So I encourage you guys, please take this with a grain of salt. I was searching through and I was checking out who the hell Coolio is. As I said before, he showed no proof or anything of the sort. He just told these people of what he did allegedly to Drake, right? Where he finessed him out of 150K. However, this is apparently one of Kendrick's friends called Euro Lux. He said, wonder who this is, mention me. I don't recognize the voice. Apparently someone else retweeted this as well. And that led a lot of people to believe that maybe Cooley Bravo is lying about the whole thing. So then I also found this. I found like this Cooley interview and it says now exposed as fake. Now this says Play has been informed by another source that everything Cooley claimed about the Kendrick Drake situation was false and that he might get targeted if he doesn't clarify his words and tell the truth about him not knowing. Kendrick obviously doesn't have writers, but PG Lang in general doesn't either. Kendrick was extremely angry when he heard Family Matters. Now this video is actually a separate interview where they were interviewing Cooley in like some kind of Discord or something along those lines. They're asking him a bunch of questions, and also apparently in the interview where he originally stated that he took 150K from Drake, he also said that he knows Kendrick personally and that he knows like his mom or something like that.
From America, I'm from Chicago. I've been on probation for like 10 years. Everybody can see my shit. My shit not hidden, or because like all my shit was like going to jail for drugs or fighting. That's how I got pulled in. I'm basically the protection. Everybody try to ask me, oh, what's Cooley's connection and all this shit? I said, I'm from Chicago and his family is from Chicago. And basically I got called. I never was even supposed to be in the music shit. I just got pulled in because I'm a rapper. People thought I was clout chasing at first, but my role in the whole beef was like, don't let nobody mess with Wit or fucking like his like Miss Duckworth. That's my family. Those are my little, she's like my mom to me. Like Miss Duckworth is like my mom. So I'm like, I'm not TDE or PG Lang. So I don't know where people was trying to date. People with the fans are so dumb.
So apparently he has some like closer connection to Kendrick's mom or something along those lines. Once again, take all of this with a grain of salt. There's no like proof of any of this. I'm not 100% sure. It was just doing research. I just saw so much conflicting information. I also apparently saw that he deleted his Twitter as well. So like this person said, I'm gonna have to blur this because this is I don't know if I can show this or not. But basically this person says Cooley Bravo Twitter deleted. And I saw people that were going along with that in the comments basically confirming that. I also saw this person who said in a video about someone talking about this whole thing who said Cooley deleted his Twitter. So then I went ahead and looked up his Twitter again. So I went ahead and looked up his Twitter and apparently this is his Twitter. This is his exact @ is Italian Fiesta. So unless this is an account that's impersonating him, which I don't know if that's true because like getting 23K followers is kind of crazy. This seems to be his Twitter and it's completely fine, right? So I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's going on here. This is apparently just some giant rabbit hole, but honestly, this is more like a side plot, so I'm not gonna dive too deep into this. I just wanted to get this out there that I don't know if this dude is telling the truth. I'm hearing so much conflicting information, like this is true, but then people are saying this is completely false. I don't know what to think about this. As I said before in the video, and I just wanted to stress this even further, take this with a grain of salt. Take this entire segment with a grain of salt, because I don't know what is going on. I don't know what ties Cooley Bravo has to Kendrick, if he has any ties at all, whether it be to TDE or his mom or him himself. I don't know, okay? Once again, just take it with a grain of salt. Maybe if one of you guys can explain in the comments if you guys know anything further about this whole thing, but other than that, we're gonna move on, okay? The other thing I wanted to mention was good old Metro Boomin, okay? Metro Boomin is a figure that has some pretty controversial tweets of his own, but once again, if you're gonna cancel him for that, then you definitely gotta cancel Drake, because Drake says some crazy stuff.
If Amazing was a young bitch, I'd be going to jail? Cause I'm like, what does that mean? Bro, what does that mean, bro? Why would you tweet this? Bro, Twitter was just, it was just erected. This shit was just made. This your first tweet? What the f, bruh? And Twitter, if Amazing was a young bitch, I'd go to
You guys remember how Kendrick said that Drake actually was trying to put a cease and desist on Like That, but then Drake retorted in family members saying that was not the case. He never did that, and he said only a coward would do something like that, which I kind of agree with. Well, Metro Boomin has some interesting evidence here. Metro Boomin says, now go make another song telling more lies, because we both know you can't tell everyone why I don't F with you. That wouldn't be a good look for either of us, so I'm gonna spare us both with that. Once again, I have no idea what this means. The more interesting tweet was that he actually posted evidence that Drake could have tried to attempted to take down Like That, like Kendrick said. So he says, I'm lame, but the first week after Like That, you try to block it at radio. I've been sitting on this email for a month now, but I was just sparing. Oh, you ain't like that record? And as you can see, this is a screenshot here. It says, hey Becca, per our conversation last week, we are not granting radio rights for Like That. Epic does not have the right to release a song on the radio. Thanks for understanding and cooperation. Business and legal affairs. Okay, it's pretty damning. Okay, it's pretty damning. Now, once again, you could say the email is fake. I guess you could say it's fake. Just the fact that it's out there, if this is true, that looks really bad on Drake, because that would show that is yet another thing he's lying about. This person said the cease and desist was true. Drake took 3 weeks to respond because he wanted the smoke to go away. There has been flinging across both sides, but this is the first piece of evidence that proves that Drake is lying, which puts into question all of the other claims that he presented, which once again, we will get into, okay? And now I gotta take the L, guys. I gotta take the L on apparently a lot of things I have to take the L on, but one in particular that I want to do some clarification on. So there was a part of my original video where I made a little bit of a oopsie about one of Drake's lines about Kendrick that I gave him credit for. Now, another thing he mentions is that something other people had mentioned too, of him being a hypocrite. If you still bumping R. Kelly, you could think that Savior said if they deleted his music, then your music is going to a hypocrite. Drake brings up the controversial stance Kendrick Lamar took in June 2018, where Spotify removed XXXTentacion and R. Kelly songs from the playlist. Kendrick stood in defense of X and R. Kelly, and Kendrick even threatened to pull his own music on Spotify if their actions continue. Drake implies that Kendrick is a hypocrite for defending for one P word and domestic abuser, but wants to fully call out and wish death upon an alleged P word. And you know what? That's fair. I was arguing with this a lot. I thought that it was just X. I think there is more context to why he said that, but I think that, you know, if you're gonna stand against Drake for being Harvey Weinstein, then you gotta also call out the R. Kelly stuff that was going on as well, where they were taking his music. And I wanted to correct it because after doing a bit of research into it, I blatantly just got this part wrong. So I'm so sorry about that. I know I triggered a lot of y'all when I said that. That's my fault. I was speaking completely from ignorance there. And one of the YouTube comments I wanted to give a shout out to clarified it very clearly what was going on with that situation. And I kind of wanted to also add some context to it. So the comment said it was Top Dog saying stuff during that whole Spotify censorship thing, and he wasn't defending R. Kelly. He was just pointing out how much of a slippery slope their policy was because they censor some people but let others keep their platform. So it was either they revised their policy or he was going to pull his label's music. For example, they'd get rid of R. Kelly and XXXTentacion but leave up Chris Brown, Eminem, and a bunch of older rock groups who did a bunch of stuff. So I went ahead and did some research, and for one, as the comment said, Kendrick never said this or made any type of comment defending R. Kelly or X at all. It was the head of his label label, which is Top Dog, which is what the comment was talking about. Also, I managed to find a video back in 2015 where Kendrick said that just because Top Dog or someone around him says something, that doesn't automatically mean that's exactly what he's thinking as well, and that he completely agrees with what Top Dog says.
No, I don't have to call them. That's their personal opinion. Yeah. I don't really be on the social media like that.
But you know what? Let's say for the sake of the argument that Kendrick does share all of those views that Top Dog had, right? Well, I actually wanted to look at exactly what Top Dog said to the people over at Billboard, just to understand what exactly he said and see if there was anything egregious with what he was talking about. So it says, Spotify announced today that the platform is moving away from implementing a policy around artist conduct. That policy, the hate content and hateful conduct policy, revealed just a few weeks ago, led to the removal of XXXTentacion and R. Kelly's music from its editorial and algorithmic playlist. With today's news, X's Sad has been added back to the popular Rap Caviar playlist. Last week, Bloomberg reported that representatives from multiple acts, including Kendrick Lamar, reached out to Spotify Chief Executive Officer Daniel Ek and Head of Artist Relations Troy Carter and threatened to pull their music if the company kept the policy as it stood. In an interview with Billboard, Anthony Top Dog Tiffith, CEO of Top Dog Entertainment, has now confirmed that he threatened to remove the music from the service. I reached out to Troy over there, we had a conversation, and I expressed how I felt about it, about censorship, how you can't do artists that way. I don't think it's right for artists to be censored, especially in our culture. How did they just pick those artists out? How come they didn't pick out any other artists from any other genres or any other different cultures? There are so many artists that have different things going on, and they could have picked anybody, but it seems to me that they're constantly picking on hip-hop culture. Now, with that being the context explained, I 100% take back what I said in the last video. Top Dog wasn't trying to protect anybody. It wasn't trying to protect R. Kelly or protect X by taking down the music. The point is looking at the bigger picture of what is going on. And that was the fact that the culture of hip hop was being directly targeted. And Top Dog was basically saying that people over at Spotify were trying to pick and choose which artists stayed on the platform. And in that case, I completely get what he's saying. R. Kelly is a messed up individual. X has done some horrible things. There's no argument against that. But then if that's the case, then pretty much around half the catalog from Spotify needs to be taken off. Like the comment said, people like Chris Brown, Eminem, and I'll add, there would definitely have to be certain bands that would need to be taken off as well. If not, it feels like you're only picking on a certain group of people and not putting the rest to that exact same standard. So if you want to say that Kendrick in a way co-signed what Top Dog was saying by taking down the music, I think Top Dog was spitting, honestly. So I appreciate all of you guys who commented that and corrected me on what was going on. I apologize that I made that mistake. I definitely should have looked into it before I said that. Thank you to that comment and then everyone else that clarified the statement as well. It's also funny because that was like the one thing I gave Drake. That was like the one thing I gave him, especially in the hard parts. It's the one thing I gave him. Even that's just like in a lie and an exaggeration. So like, bro got me, dog. He got me. Now, how about the next thing we talk about is the Drake Ghostwriter fiasco. Kendrick multiple times in Euphoria has mentioned how Drake has ghostwriters, and this has been no secret. It's been outed before. Now, first off, I want to say that it is completely fine to have a ghostwriter or someone that writes your lyrics for you, and from what I understand, it's a very common thing with a lot of artists that they get help in the booth with their lyrics, whether it be very minor edits or writing entire verses for you. And nothing is wrong with that as long as you make a fire song, right? But it's a whole other thing when you claim to be one of the best at writing and that it's your strong suit, only for that to be a complete fabrication as to what's actually going on. Because if it was your strong suit, why do you have ghostwriters?
But that project's obviously riddled in controversy because of Quentin Miller, right? A lot of people feel like, well, he helped you with some songs, and even to this credit, I feel like you're still battling these ghostwriting rumors and this type of thing. That in some sense, I think, does try to tarnish your legacy, whether it's effective or not. How do you look back on that album, and does that still take away anything from that album for you, or how do you view it now when you look at it?
No, I really have, I've really made my peace. I have no embarrassment when it comes to what I did on that album, I worked with somebody on, I think, 4 or 5 songs on that record. I pulled my weight when it came to my pen. It wasn't like I just, it wasn't like I needed somebody to facilitate, entire ideas. We worked together. That's kind of how music is a collaborative thing, and I understand in rap, of course, in your comment section, it's a little different because we conduct ourselves, and I still associate myself in that community, we conduct ourselves by a few different rules. We tweak the rules a little bit in the sense that...
If it's a hook, it's okay.
Yeah, it's like, you know, there's things like that, you know, but anybody that knows me knows that my strongest talent is writing. That is my strongest talent. I'm not a great singer. I'm a good performer. I've grown into a great performer, but my greatest talent is writing, you know, and that's why people ask me to write songs for them. That's why people like to get in the room and write with me. And yeah, I want to just encourage anybody, like, look, if it makes a great song and you're the one that's voicing it, but it's you and this other person that's cooking it up, you're not doing anything wrong, you know, and that's like just, again, for me speaking to any new artist, like, don't let anybody tell you that you're not supposed to collaborate on that's what this is for. We should, you know, whatever gets you to that destination where you have, you know, great body of work. If you need somebody to write the whole thing and all you do is just go in and track it, there's still artists that exist like that to this day that people love and revere. And I've wrote by the way, all my biggest songs and any song that really, really did damage for me, I've wrote every single lyric. So that, like, the hits, the hits and the ones that I'm not gonna collaborate with somebody on any of the timestamp records. I'm not collaborating with anybody on Marvin's Room or, you know, like the R&B records that are, you know, other than me and Party.
So this is just outright lies, but we'll talk about this in a second, right? As I've said before, there is no issue with having a ghostwriter and having people collab and write with you, as he said. However, when you claim you're the GOAT at writing and people compare you to people who do write their songs like Kendrick and J. Cole, who are obviously amazing lyricists, that is an entire other conversation, right? Now, Drake had already gone through the whole ghostwriter cope arc all the way back in 2015 when he was beefing with Meek Mill, right? So it is no secret to anyone that Drake does have ghostwriting. We also know that there are instances where Drake wasn't writing his song, like with what happened with Take Care, where The Weeknd had apparently written half the album. So this is off of Euphoria when Kendrick said, yeah, my first one's like my last one. It's a classic, you don't have one. Kendrick's comment about Drake's work may come from observations that Take Care, the album that's most commonly regarded as Drake's classic, had almost half an album's material originally written by The Weeknd, adding to ongoing accusations of ghostwriting against Drake, which Kendrick refers to later. Therefore, Drake doesn't have a classic because it's not really his work, and what his work is only light, hence a light pack. So this is a direct quote by The Weeknd. Said, I was hungry. I was like, dude, take anything. I gave up almost half my album. It's hard. I'll always be thankful. If it wasn't for the light he shined on me, who knows where I'd be. So, accusation by The Weeknd that he wrote half of Take Care, right? And the accusation by Meek Mill was essentially that Quentin Miller was somebody who wrote half of If You Read This Is Too Late, which was one of Drake's albums. On the 5-year anniversary of Drake's If You're Reading This Is Too Late, Quentin Miller reflected on the impact the project had on his life. Miller was thrust into the public eye when Meek Mill alleged that he ghost wrote a number of tracks on the release, prompting a beef between Drizzy and Meek that culminated with Drake's diss track back to back. But instead of increasing his stature, the ghostwriting allegations turned his life into hell. So a lot of people have been congratulating me and sending me messages and shit about the 5-year anniversary of If You're Reading This and shit. Due to the circumstances surrounding the beef that followed, Miller said that it's different for him. It's pretty much taboo for me to even talk about it. Unfortunately, I don't have the good memories about it everyone has. My good memories were all murdered the day Meek Mandela. The day he put my name out there and just blew up my whole spot. That shit just fucked everything up for me, bro. Miller said that If You're Reading This, It's Too Late was the best moment of my life, but because of Meek's tweets, it became one of the most stressful. He said that he envies the songwriters, artists, and producers who were able to look on it fondly because it wasn't a good life for me. So damn, bro seems hella traumatized about that. Golly. Now, the main question to this is, we all know that he uses ghostwriters, right? Even I knew this was public knowledge when going into this beef, and I'm not even huge on following Drake news and stuff. But the question is, to what extent was he using the ghostwriter? It seemed pretty egregious. If you have 2 of your most iconic albums, half of them are written by other people, but was it to the point where he could make the claim of his strong suit being his pen, like he said in the interview? And especially when people are comparing him to 2 undeniable, amazing lyricists, those being Cole and Kendrick. Well, almost a decade later, and some further stuff would get exposed, to where the answer would be a lot more clear, which would also explain one of Kendrick's most controversial lines, the one where he said he has no classics.
2011? Oh, that's when Drake was my GOAT. I ain't gonna lie. I love 2011 Drake. I ain't gonna lie. And that's why, hold on, Kendrick, you did say something. I remember Kendrick mentioning something about he has no classics. That's cap. That's cap. Look, K-Dot, I love you, but come on, bro. We don't gotta lie now, bro. We don't gotta lie now, bro.
So in the middle of the beef, around the time where Rick Ross was on Drake's ass and released his diss against him, there was a leak, allegedly by Metro Boomin, which showed that Lil Yachty had apparently wrote for him before, doing a reference track for Drake's Jumbotron shit poppin'. Now, by the way, if you guys don't know what a reference track is, because I didn't when going into this, a reference track is an early version of a song that is often used as a starting point for a final version. It may include rough lyrics, melodies, and beats that are later refined and reworked to create the final product.
So on Monday, April 15th, an alleged reference track for Drizzy's 2022 song Jumbotron Poppin', recorded by Lil Boat, began making the rounds online after being sent to multiple media outlets by an anonymous source in Atlanta.
I spent so much lifetime, it's hard to leave the bed. Then I did the whole fight attack in a cold red. If I tell this bitch to pull up, she gon' moped it. My doggy don't smoke on shit unless it's unlit.
While discussing the alleged demo on his Rumble channel, academics claim that Metro Boomin, who has also been at odds with the Sixth God, was behind the leak.
There's no need for mystique here. The person who sent it, his name is Metro Boomin.
Now that was just a small blow compared to the leak that came later, with one of his biggest hits, Mob Ties, which by the way was the song he came back with after the beef with Pusha T, wasn't made by him either. Drake's ghostwriting drama has continued after what appears to be a reference track from Mob Ties made by Vori leaked online. The origin of the leak is not yet known, and neither Drake nor Vori have commented on its veracity. DJ Academics also had this really stupid claim that he said, yo, it sounded like a Toronto nigga spitting to me, so therefore it couldn't have been him who wrote it.
Hey, chat, do some fucking internet detective activity, bro. See if you can find a Vori reference.
Okay, he is credited, but he ain't write nothing, nigga.
How do you know that, nigga?
He ain't write that, nigga. Yo, this nigga is crazy.
Bro, first of all, wrote the hook. Nigga, I'm gonna tell you why I know he ain't write shit for Drake, right? Cause most of this shit was almost like, bruh, this shit was almost like a Toronto nigga spitting, bruh.
Such a stupid thing to say, bro. Like, what are we talking about? So this was, I believe, the original tweet that had it. So it said Drake Mob Ties reference track leak, Vori Mob Ties. I don't know if I can play this, but yeah, it's pretty bad. So you can tell, like, Drake pretty much mocked the entire cadence of it, right? And once again, Mob Ties was a return song for him after a huge beef. So to see that is written by him really shows that, yeah, you're kind of a fraud for doing that, right? And there would be a lot of people who would not really take the news very well, let's just say that much.
Talking about this yesterday, I was appalled. I was shocked, okay? Because I fuck with Mob Ties heavy. Was disappointed, can't lie. It's one thing to have people help you with writing. I get that is a common thing in the industry. But when you are one of the top 3, one of the GOATs, and you are very braggadocious about how you that nigga and you know, the best rapper of all time, to have as much help as Drake has had is a bit alarming, especially when it's these key records that are like really popping, that a lot of people love. To know that you're not even responsible for those, it is disappointing.
When Kendrick says that you not a part of the culture, you not hip hop, or you vulturing, you're only helping him with this shit. And I know he said that shit after, but this was after this, but this was after the Pusha T beef, wasn't it? Drake ghostwrites for other people. I know what Drake's pen is like. I think, are you telling me that you do not have the ability? It's making me feel like you don't have the ability to create unless you got people around you.
Rappers, respected rappers, revere rappers, the GOATs. You know what I mean? That's why Drake can never be considered in this GOAT conversation. You having reference tracks, like Wayne don't have reference tracks. Eminem don't have reference tracks. Kendrick Lamar don't have reference tracks. Biggie don't have reference tracks. Lupe Fiasco don't have reference tracks. Pusha T don't have reference tracks. Andre 3 Stacks don't have reference tracks. Bro, and if they do a reference track, it's gonna be them on the goddamn reference track, period, bro. And if you don't write your own lyrics, you cannot be even considered on Mount Rushmore or King of the Hill type of conversations, dog.
I think the reason that Drake gets away with it is because he appeals to the mainstream, right? And I think because of that, a lot of those people don't really know how much he ghostwrites because they don't really care, right? At the end of the day, it is very disappointing to see that. And honestly, when doing research into this, it almost makes me question why he was even part of the big 3 in the first place if he has this many ghostwriters? And once again, there's nothing wrong with getting help from other people, or in a way having people write hooks or whatever, write verses, but whole songs and writing half an album for you is kind of crazy, bro. I'm not gonna hold you. Once again, when you talk about who's the GOAT, like, is Drake really a GOAT if he has all these people writing for him? Or are we just smoking copium because he can copy these people really well? I don't know. That's just me. I just don't know. And maybe that is the sentiment. I just think that, in my personal opinion, I would not consider someone a GOAT or even compare him to people like Kendrick or J. Cole if he has all of these people working for him and having a sweatshop of different ghostwriters that he rotates in and out. That's just not how that works, you know what I mean? At first, when you listen to Kendrick's bar about Drake not having any classics, you see it more as kind of rap cap, just saying shit and then just like moving on. It's nothing more than that, right? You know, it was just like when Drake said in Family Matters that Kendrick's only good when Baby Keem put his pen to it, which is just literally not true. Like, but after this news came out where a lot of Drake's best rap tracks were shown to be written by somebody else, it makes a lot more sense as to what Kendrick is saying here. For example, let's say that I make a video about a topic and I have someone doing all of the research, I have someone doing all of the scripting, I have someone doing all the editing, someone doing all the audio work, and all I'm doing is reading the script and maybe changing words here or there. Let's keep it a fat stack, okay? Let's take the copium gas off for a second. Is that really my work, or is it someone else's and I kind of just took credit for it? Now, once again, going from varying from person to person, they're probably not gonna care because you'll probably promise them a bunch of other stuff, right? And as I said before, hiring an editor, for example, in the YouTube space, like having an editor do editing for you is fine. But if you're not doing any of the work, if you're not followed in any of the process of making something or making the content, are you really talented, or are you just mooching off of other people's skills? And that would kind of be the equivalent to what Drake is doing. And once again, normally this isn't something that would be a huge issue. You know, ghostwriting in itself is done by a lot of people. But when you say that your pen is your strong suit and your writing is crazy, this just makes you look wild that there's so much ghostwriting involved in some of your best songs. So not only does this further prove Kendrick's claim, but it also makes Drake look like that much more of a fraud. It's just something to think about. It really is, you know? Once again, before looking into this, I did not think it was that bad, but it is literally that bad. Like, goodness gracious. Now, the mole situation is probably one of the most complicated aspects of the Drake and Kendrick beef, and have gone through very strange back and forth as to if the mole is fake or not, and to whose it is. It started out when Kendrick said in 616 in LA that he had people in OVO that were actually working for him. Now, in the middle of the beef, there was actually a theory that went around the internet explaining that the mole could have actually been fake all along and was planted by Drake, so Kendrick would bite the bullet and look stupid as a result.
Did Drake just bait Kendrick Lamar into a lie? The theory is that Drake used a fake mole to get Kendrick to lie about him having a secret daughter. Let's dive into it. On Thursday, May the 2nd, DJ Head, a popular West Coast DJ who has ties to Kendrick's camp, confirmed Drake would be dropping a quote-unquote hit that night, which we now know is Family Matters. But it never happened, and Kendrick would drop 616 in LA in the early hours of May 3rd. In 616 in LA, Kendrick says Drake has a mole in his camp with the line, "Have you ever thought that OVO is working for me?" Now, if this fake mole theory is true, here's what I think happened. The fake mole from OVO told Kendrick he was dropping on Friday, May 3rd, and that info would somehow get to DJ Head because he's close to Kendrick's camp. The mole would also tell Kendrick Drake had a secret daughter, and also sent him the cover art from Meet the Grams, which had an Ozempic prescription for Drake to make it extra believable. And when DJ Head leaked that Drake would be dropping on Friday, Drake cancelled his release to see if Kendrick would drop his nuke first, aka Secret Daughter. But when Drake didn't drop Family Matters like he was supposed to, Kendrick dropped 616 in LA to bait Drake into responding, just like what Drake did with Taylor Made Freestyle. But it doesn't end there. In Family Matters, Drake says, "You digging for dirt, should be digging for proof." I think Kendrick using the glove as his cover art for 616 in LA confirmed to Drake that Kendrick believed the fake mole and knew he didn't have any real proof or a real nuke like he said in Euphoria. Also, the fact that Kendrick responded with Meet the Grams 30 minutes later means he already wrote and recorded it and just waited, so there really is an OVO mole, fake or not. But when Kendrick said Drake had a daughter, he didn't really provide any proof. Also, in the Family Matters video, Drake is talking to somebody behind a shed. Could this symbolize him telling the fake mole what to say? And last night, Drake allegedly liked a comment basically summing up this theory. Thoughts?
So yeah, that's essentially the entire theory around him having the fake mole around. Then Drake retaliated in the Heart Part 6 by confirming the theory about the mole that everyone conjured up, saying that the mole was actually fake and that it was fed to Kendrick on purpose. So he says here, we plotted for a week and then we fed you the information. A daughter that's 11 years old, I bet he takes it. We thought about giving a fake name or destination, but you so thirsty, you're not concerned with investigation. Instead, you in that Venus studio, it's a celebration. You gotta learn to fact check things and be less impatient. Fans are rejoicing, thinking this is my expiration. Even the picture you use, the jokes and the medication. The Maybach glove and the drug he uses for less inflation. Master manipulator, you bid on the speculation. You're dumb and reactive, nigga, I'm petty with dedication. And also, we don't really need to speculate like this whole thing because this literally got disproven completely.
I think Drake knew that these things were stolen, okay? So this does look like some stolen shit, I'm gonna be honest. Drake did knew that they were stolen. I don't know if he's like trying to reverse psychology it, saying, well, now I know it's stolen and I know what you have, I'm gonna play off of it. That's one. But number two, when Drake says he set it up, I'm taking that to be this 11-year-old daughter thing, because from everybody I've talked to, including Drake, we don't even know where this came from, and Kendrick said it so definitively in what was supposed to be his biggest song, which was supposed to be the biggest expose.
So yeah, by him saying that Drake and his team didn't know where the information came from, that is literally an admission that he lied on the Heart Part 6. So before, it was said that Drake had a fake mole, and a lot of people didn't believe it. There was some weird things, weird actions Drake would have done if this is true, that would imply that maybe he's lying and that Kendrick was right and that he was a mole. But as of May 10th, there was some very, very, very fascinating information. As you guys see here, it says a new video of Meet the Grams cover items have surfaced online. Number 1, King Kendrick Lamar is not a liar and I am not a thief. Number 2, Drake and academics have until noon Monday on May 13th, 2024 to retract your claims of theft, or my attorney and I will exhaust every legal option available. Now, if we go ahead and look at this image here, basically a video at them, it says to Mr. Aubrey Graham, may this photo help jog your memory as to where you discarded those items. The issue in the photo should also jog your memory. Jimmy Brooks would not have been proud of you that night. So here we see this just random picture in some kind of, I assume it's like a hotel or something, I'm not sure. And then this is kind of the main video that's been circling around.
Dear Adonis, I'm sorry that man is your father, let me be honest. It takes a man to be a man, your dad is not responsive. I look at him and wish your grandpa would have wore a condom. I'm sorry that you gotta grow up and then stand behind them. Life is hard, I know. The challenges always go beat us home. Sometimes our parents make mistakes that affect us until we grown.
All that evidence there, lads. All of the evidence is there. Everything that was in the cover art for Meet the Grams. That's the Exempic, that's the pharmacy stuff. And that's everything. And then he has the Maybach glove there. That's the pharmacy stuff, the Ozempic and whatnot. That's the shirt, which claims that this is all real. This is all real. Basically, it's them showing this entire thing. So apparently this is a search and destroy laptop, which I didn't even guess. This person's name is ebonyprince 2K24. So here we see ebonyprince 2K24, business only, present your offers. It was made in May of 2024. Now, I think it's pretty obvious to say, this is not Drake's mole. This is not the mole that was allegedly there to kind of trick Kendrick into doing the thing. It's entirely possible that Kendrick was right the entire time, and this mole is Kendrick's. In my opinion, I believe that this is the most likely option, or it is a third party that pretty much lied and is fabricating all of this stuff, from the bottle to the Maybach gloves to the exact shirt. There's a lot of things that would have to be in place for this to be a third party, but I guess it could be possible, but like, god damn, bro. Drake wants us to believe that he kept receipts and prescription bottles / boxes that are a year old and planted them so Kendrick can go on a lyrical spree about calling him a PDF file, pill popper, and has a daughter. 1,000 IQ. So Search and Destroy Laptop purposely recorded the newspaper so we can see that he recorded this video on the 8th. Security camera footage, tied rope around the pill bottle so he can hold it up without showing his hand, and cryptic messages. Yeah, call it quits, Drake. I did see Academics say something. Yeah, I saw Academics TV actually say something to this. Okay, so right here he says big cap and then it has a picture of like this stuff next to the different things and then basically compared it to the album cover. But honestly, these just seem like lighting issues, but I guess Academics TV admin discovers that objects don't look the same in different lighting. And then here we have a video. This was 16 hours ago and he said all will be revealed next stream. So that begs the question, who is Ebony Prince? What's his connection to Drake and Kendrick? Why did he do this in the first place? And what does this mean in the grand scheme of things? Well guys, let's just say it's a very long story. Guys, I'm so sorry. I do not mean to drag this on. I know it seems like I'm milking it, but it's actually a lot of information and took a lot longer than I thought to make and organize and whatnot, so it'll be saved for later. Okay, thank you guys so much. I love y'all. Thank you guys for the insane support. I appreciate you. I can't thank you guys more than enough. All right, goodbye. Bye.